So what would the world be like if you didn't do nicotine or marijuana?
I think I've used it as my, at the end of the day, chill.
Because when you don't have it, it changes your brain to need it. I am so grateful that you are here. It's such a great time on your podcast. And when I was there, I'm like, we should look at your brain.
I know. Thank you so much for having me. I'm nervous and excited all at the same time.
Well, I'm hoping this is going to be a day you remember for a long time because you are already great. And if I can help your brain be even better with less stress, how cool would that be?
It would be amazing.
I took notes. So I've looked at your scans, I've looked at your testing, read your history, and I made notes for us. And so the goal, better focus.
Yes.
Suspected you had ADD or ADHD. You're friends with my friend, Mel Robbins.
Yes.
And when you guys talk, she's like, you have ADD.
Yeah, it was so fun. She was like, oh yeah, she was diagnosed at 47. And as I was interviewing, she's telling me all these symptoms. I'm like, that sounds like me, that sounds like me, that sounds like me, that sounds like me. And I'm 43 and I've never been diagnosed. Okay, so that's going to change today. So here are some of the symptoms with ADD. Late, loses things, forgetful, can be all over the place, easily distracted, fidgety, got in trouble in school for talking too much. Very common. But boys get diagnosed because they often bring negative attention to themselves. Girls tend not to be diagnosed. And I think part of it is they're still, clearly when you were growing up, gender bias. So if a little boy was having problems, people are like, he's going to take care of a family someday. If a little girl is having problems, they go, oh, we hope she marries somebody nice. And that's just irrational, especially in our society today, where women do way more than men. And, even in two-parent working families, the female still feels like she's the primary caretaker for the kids, primary caretaker for the house, and she's working. So if her husband doesn't step up, she's bitter and tired. Yeah. Actually, Tom
just say.
Yeah. In my family, actually, Tom pulls more of the weight because of my health and stuff. We've just had to discuss it, and I've had to let go of that guilt and shame because I just can't show up. To your point, it's like it's hard enough for me to get enough energy to really,
Are you having any nicotine now?
So I am a bit. I put it in with my weed when I smoke it. It's a European way of doing it. But I've cut back so much to the point where I'm like coughing so much because if I have a pull, because it's very strong now. So I probably have maybe 1 to 2 cigarettes in total a week if you pass it out there.
So what would the world be like if you didn't do nicotine or marijuana?
I mean, here's the thing. I think I've used it as my at the end of the day, I've worked really hard and I just like to chill and watch crappy TV for an hour before I go to bed, and I smoke a joint. And so it has become it becomes a nice go-to, but when I'm doing it every day, is that an addiction, and why am I doing it?
Because when you don't have it, it changes your brain to need it. And so it lies to you. It's like, oh, this is a stress reliever, when in fact, I'm going to show you, it's a stress creator. Okay, now the fun. So we did a study called SPECT, and SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It looks at how your brain works, and it actually looks at mitochondrial function. So what areas of your brain are working really well? You have many. What areas are working too hard? and what areas are not working hard enough. And then my job becomes balancing it. And the image on the left, so here's an example of a healthy brain. This is what we want the brain to look like. So the images on the left, the color doesn't matter, it's the shape. It should be full, even, and symmetrical. The top left, we're looking underneath the brain, just like this. So the top is the front.
Take a photo, that's just too good.
Bottom is the back. This is called the cerebellum. It's really important because that's where processing happens. These are your temporal lobes. This is your frontal lobe. And we're going to find this area is not as active as it should be.
For me.
And that's where the ADD stuff is hanging out. We'll show you that in a second. The images on the right, blue is average activity, red is the top 15%, white is the top 8%. And they should be here in the cerebellum because this is such a cool part of the brain. It's got more than half of the brain's neurons. And it's where processing happens. So it should be busy. When we look at your brain.
Oh no, what's the hole?
Well, see, I think the bumpiness is the marijuana. And it's just my experience. Like I have no dog in the fight.
No.
Except I've been doing this for 30 years and I'm like, it makes your brain look less healthy than you want it to be. Your age and your health habits, like on a scale of 0 to 100 with my patients and health habits, you're like, besides the marijuana, nicotine, at a 95. I mean, you have great health habits. We need to get rid of those things because they're not serving you. They're hurting you, right? If we look at your goals, I mean, they're probably very similar to mine. You want energy. You want memory. You want connection. You want clarity. You want purpose. That's what you want. And you want to be effective because you know, no margin, no mission. So you want to be a good business person, right? Marijuana doesn't fit any of those goals. It doesn't give you energy. It doesn't give you purpose. It doesn't give you connection. It's a habit. Never want to use something that changes your brain to need it in order for you to feel normal. All right. How I make these pictures is I tell the computer I want to see a certain level of brain activity. And we set the threshold. Think of it from 0 to 100 at 55. Because anything below that is 2 standard deviations below normal. So the hole, you don't have a hole in your brain. What it means, though, is there's less blood flow than you want it to be in an area commonly associated with Alzheimer's disease. You don't want that. So if you say you leave here and you go, I don't believe Dr. Heyman. Everybody hates him. I hate him too.
I came to
20 years from now, it's going to look like this. We don't want that. But if you leave here and you go, I love him. I'm going to do what he says. I'm going to be a brain warrior. Then in 6 months, it can look like this. That's what you want. So there's this term I talk about, brain envy. It's like you want a better brain, right? I always say Freud was wrong. Penis envy is not the cause of anybody's problem. You want this. And this is possible in your brain because this is your brain if we got it working better. And so I can see the future. And I want you to see the future with fear, right? Appropriate anxiety. If I'm not serious, I'm headed for darkness. But if I'm serious, I'm headed for light. I'm headed for a big, fat, healthy brain. So I'm never doing anything that suppresses brain function. I'm always going to do things that enhance. And I do that not because I should, but because I love myself. I love my husband. I love my mission. I love the fun, cool things you get to do because you've made a lot of great decisions.
I mean, look, I came to you for the truth and I know that you were going to give it to me. So I'm the type of person that needs to see that.
Now, if we look at the active part of your scan, you have
God.
a very busy brain.
What's that part in the middle there, the white part? Yeah, that.
So that's part of your limbic or emotional brain.
Okay, so that part and the bit on the right.
So I want to calm that down.
Okay.
And here, which is actually the left side because we're looking underneath
Oh, I
the
see,
brain,
yeah. I see.
is way too busy. And that's why you use marijuana. But the problem is, it's not fixing.
Right.
All right, what's the plan? I want you to send me your labs.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 packets a day to repair
What
and
package?
boost your brain. In the packets, omega-3 fatty
Oh, okay.
acids, a great multiple vitamin,
Okay.
and a memory boost.
Okay.
That's got 6 different things.
Mm.
So I think we can go back through your supplements and go, okay, which of these can I replace? Like the B vitamins, it's loaded
Okay.
with all the B vitamins. I'm going to give you my sort of natural ADD treatment. So I want you to try both, either Calm My Brain or theanine gummies at night instead of the marijuana.
Okay. What is that?
So theanine from green tea has
Okay.
actually been found to help people calm and focus. It's been found to be a sleep aid. And it's also in this thing I make called Calm My Brain that has theanine, but also ashwagandha and magnesium.
Hmm.
And so at the end of the day, when you would have marijuana, I want you to replace it. And it may take 2 or 3 weeks to just sort of adjust,
Okay.
but I'd absolutely do it. Because I want in your head, I could have this really terrible brain in 20 years and be pretty miserable. Or I could have this big, fat, healthy brain and be pretty happy and purposeful. Because that's what you want, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
working mostly to make a difference.
Absolutely.
This is how I think of things. If you have a bad day, and you were doing this earlier, I love that. You turn it into good data, right? It's like, oh, I didn't eat. I was stressed and I didn't sleep well. No wonder I'm irritable today. And so every day you win or you learn. Win or you learn. So I often say you get curious, not furious. And so when people come to see me, they're not doing well. Now, you're different because you're doing awesome. And we're just going to make you more awesome. And then, so I intervene and people get better. Have you seen the new Netflix documentary, Stutz?
No.
It's great.
Stutz?
Stutz. So Jonah Hill, the actor,
Yeah.
did a documentary on his psychiatrist.
Oh, I didn't finish it. I did see it. Yes.
I loved it.
Yes.
Now it's my business, so I made my kids watch it.
That's so.
But I love one thing he said that I've stolen from him. He says to his patients, "Do what the fuck I say," because you'll get better, right? If our goal is to prevent Alzheimer's disease, to make you optimal, you become a brain warrior. There's no downside to that. So, anyways.
Put me in, coach.
If you do what I say, you'll get better, but nobody just gets better. You're better, and then you're not, and then you're better, not, and you're better. Well, pretty soon you have good days and bad days, which is nothing like these. We take these down times and we learn from them. Win or learn, win or learn. And if you have that mindset, you're always winning.
Yeah, I love that.